Have you ever thought of making your own basket design? So you are welcome to Olives. If you are new here, my name is Olivia. In this video, I will share with you how I made mine with illusion. This method can be used for a top, a dress, a jacket, and many more. So do keep on watching if you like to know more. After drafting, I traced out my yoke and I added allowance to the shoulder and then to the lower part of the yoke. I also left enough allowance around the yoke, so whenever I'm done, I can just trim it off. I intend to use 1 inch interval, and this ruler is also 1 inch. So instead of using my tape, I'll use my ruler so it can be faster. So I'm going to mark diagonal lines with the ruler, and just as you see, that is how I want the basket to look like. Okay, the basket design, so it's going to be diagonal. We also have the straight one. One thing I also did was that the same yoke, I traced it out on the wrong side because I might not be able to find the lines after stitching. Okay, so when I do this at the wrong side, I can just see my shape and just cut out. Now after the first line, we'll have a second one that will cross over. Okay, we want the lines to intertwine. That's how basket actually looks like. Okay, one over the other. Okay, so with the same ruler again, I'll use my marker to mark this the opposite way. Okay, so one goes one way and the other one goes the other way. I don't know how to even explain better, but just as you see the directions, and these are the spaces. Alternatively, instead of marking diagonally, you can mark just straight lines, you know, and I'll use another marker to mark across. Do you see that? Let's assume this is my yoke, and if I marked it vertically, obviously with the yoke, the lines on the yoke will look vertical, if that makes sense. So this is how it will look like. Instead of my being diagonal, it will be vertical. So whichever method you prefer, you do that. Okay, so this is my fabric. This is the material I'm using, and I'm just going to cut my straps. I'm ready to cut my straps. I'll use a strap width of 1 inch, and so with the first line I've marked, I'll just mark this 1 inch. I actually made use of 1 inch strap for some of them and 1.25 for some. Okay, you may also use 1.5. It depends on how you want the actual width of your strap to be. Next, I'll pick one of the straps and fold it equally. I'll give it a good press. This is what I have. I'll move on to trim off any part that is fraying. Next, with the strap folded into two, I'll fold in a little excess, which is about 1/4 inch, and also press it down till I get to the other end of my strap, and I'll do this to all the straps. You may need more depending on how your yoke is, right? So if it is not enough, then you cut more. Again, I'll fold my strap into 2 equal parts and press it down, folding an excess of 1/4 inch. And so while ironing, if you find it difficult, you can use a pin to just tuck the space where the strap will get, the exact strap will fit into, and then you just flow with it, you pull it out and you iron. Okay, that will be easier, and while pulling, the excess also folds in as you move ahead. Okay, so you just have to make sure that the width of your strap is the same space you've left with the pin. You may also want to fold your strap in the form of a bias. Okay, so you fold your fabric into 2, you press it, and then you press the 1/4 inch on both sides. Okay, so you have your excess, your rough edge inside, instead of just at the right side. I don't know if that makes sense. In this case, since I want to use illusion, the rough part for the first strap will just face the net. Okay, so this is my net. The first step I am going to do is to place my net right on the paper. Okay, I'll fold it into two, right? I'll double the net and just place it on the paper and pin it down. You can also make a stitch to just tuck it in place. Okay, here we go. So I'll pick my strap, and with the very first line, this is the main reason why I use two different colors. Okay, so you identify easily. Sit down and stitch on both sides of the strap. Let's do this. So this is my strap. I'm already by my machine. So with my first line, which is tiny, I'll place the strap on it, right, and then make a straight stitch on both sides of the strap. So if I have an excess, I'll cut off the excess of the strap and then move on to the next line. I'll continue. This is my very first stitch, right, and so I'll cut off the excess and then I'll continue stitching till I get to the other end. After stitching the first part of the straps, I placed my pressing cloth on it and I gave it a good press, and my iron fell. But anyway, this is how it looks like right now. I'll move on to trim off the excess of the net and move on to the next one, which is the other part of the strap. Okay, so let's move on to that one as well. Okay, so I'm done, and this is what I have. For me to see properly, I'll use my marker to re-outline the shape. I can kind of see it, but I'm struggling, so it's better I sit down and outline the shape before I cut out. Okay, this is the most important part after cutting. That is to remove the paper, right? So removing the paper can be so annoying, so I prefer to just, I don't know what word to use for this. You see the way you wash, right? How you wash your clothes. Yeah, this is the method I use for it, and it weakened the paper, so it was easy to remove. I decided to also cut out bias to knitting the neckline of the yoke. Okay, so I've cut out, I think, 1.5 width of bias. I intend to fold it into two equal parts like this, right, and fold the excess 1/4 inch inside. Okay, and refold it into two, place the edge of the neckline into it and top stitch. That's the idea. Now, assuming I will not use net, right, I will not use illusion for this basket design, it will be the worst ever to use the strap. You know, the first one I folded into two and also folded the excess outside, right? So if I place it on the paper and I stitch, the rough side will face downwards. That means it will be outside and it will fray, right? So the best thing is to fold the excess inside like this and fold it into two. So instead of pressing, you can just place it on it and start to stitch, and while stitching you fold in the excess. You just have to make sure that you fold in the right amount of excess. If you can do that, it will be best for you to just iron it straightforward, and when you get to this stage you just stitch. Okay, all right, so this is what I have now after removing everything, and I'm ready to also stitch the back together. So I'll sandwich the front and back shoulder, so that means that the front shoulder will be in between the main piece and the lining of the back shoulder. So I'm done with the strap, and let me tell you what I did with the strap. While folding into 2 equal parts, I decided to just fold one to be longer than the other a little bit. Here I also have my shoulder stitch with 1/2 inch, and if I flip it in, everything is neat inside out. So just as I was explaining, the strap has the lower part beyond a little bit, okay? So the lower part of the fold will be inward. That's the wrong side of the neckline. Okay, so I'll fold in the edge and then fold back into 2. Okay, still making sure I have a little out, and then I'll place my neckline into it like this. So while I insert the neckline into the strap, I'll move on to be stitching. Okay, now after top stitching right on the edge, I'll also top stitch the topmost part of the strap, right? That's the very edge of the strap. Alright, so this is how the neckline looks like. Top stitch, and this is the wrong side as well. Instead of stitching the excess of the yoke into the bustier, right, I top stitch. So I made a bias out of the material itself and then bind the edge of the yoke first. The first idea I had was to just top stitch and bead it, but looking at how it turned out right now, it's looking nice, and I feel like when I bead it, it's going to look too much. I think so. Hope it's cool anyways. And then I'm doing something here with the sleeve. I don't know whether I will remove it or not. If you're wondering how I made the sleeve, it's a cup sleeve, but I added a little excess to the pattern. So this is the pattern. We already have a tutorial on that. It's a cup sleeve. Go check it out. If I remember, I'll put the link in the description box. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I enjoyed every bit of making this basket design. I hope you also make yours. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching once again. I will definitely see you in my next one. Do well to subscribe and like the video, and also share.